What is up, everyone? Please take a second to hit that like button. The more likes that we get in a short period of time, the more people the algorithm will bring into the chat to come hang out with us and see what's going on. I'm so sick of this stuff. It is killing me. I have no idea what the hell that is about. They cut me off. They shut, like, my software was shut down because my software runs through streaming. It's not like a program that's on my computer. It's streamed. They shut that down. I had to Control-Alt-Delete to get it all to shut down. Like, everything just took a shit for no reason. That stuff is pissing me off. So I did a whole bunch of stuff to try and get around that. Everything seems to be working better now. But prior to me doing a deep dive on my own PC, YouTube was refusing to let me go live. So I don't know if you guys just got like 100 notifications that I went live, but I was attempting to go live over and over and over, and it would not let me go live. It was not letting me go live at all. Obviously, I've got that worked out. Fuck whoever is in control of the fucking internet and shit, because that is not my fault, and they're making me look bad, and that pisses me off. Other than that, thank you so much, Terry, for joining the membership program, and welcome to the family. You're officially a hooligan. These fucking assholes. Anyways, that VPN shit, that's garbage. That stuff doesn't actually work. That stuff doesn't work. You think it works, but really it makes you a minority. It makes you stand out to the government saying, hey, I have something to hide, so I'm paying for a private network. Really, you're just being monitored extra closely. I don't believe in that stuff at all. I've had a VPN. That stuff it just puts a spotlight on you. I don't believe in it. So, the live has ended, but I'm going to finish it out because there were some really good questions that happened while I was sitting here screaming at my computer trying to get this to work. So we're going to cover the rest of the briefing. I understand if you guys don't want to watch it, or maybe you already watched it while I was dealing with this crap, but we're going to finish it out, and you are all welcome to join me.
Made just last week about mandates. Prior to that, part of that has been relying on local messengers. Part of that has been making the vaccine broadly accessible to everybody in the country, making it as easy as humanly possible to get vaccinated. And we're going to continue to deploy those tactics as well, because we've seen them as effective, and we've seen them work in a range of communities, getting us to a point of over 75%.
Follow up on COVID, please, Jen.
Sure.
So yesterday, the president in his remarks mentioned working together with partners to increase global vaccine capacity, including this upcoming meeting with the Quad. But one thing that he did not mention was anything about supporting the TRIPS waiver or waiving the patent technology at the WTO, which many experts say will be the game changer in terms of boosting global capacity. So is this no longer a priority for the administration?
Well, he supported the TRIPS waiver. Excuse me. It's a process being led by our ambassador. It's an ongoing process. We said from the beginning it would be a lengthy process. I have not seen many advocates say this is the silver bullet and the thing that is going to provide everybody with vaccines around the world. It's something the president supports. We support in his administration, and there is an important global process that is ongoing. What we feel our role is also is not just providing, as the world's biggest provider of vaccines to the global community, more than every other country combined, but also working with our Quad partners to produce at least 1 billion vaccine doses, boosting vaccine manufacturing in South Africa to produce more than 500 million single dose regimens in Africa for Africa, ensuring we're increasing capacity around the world and increasing and sharing know-how with the global community as well. All of these steps are essential, and certainly we continue to support the TRIPS waiver. I just want to get around to a bunch of people. Go ahead.
Thank you, Jen. Maybe, Jen, just to clarify, yesterday DHS said that they will not be sending migrants at the Texas border to Guantanamo. But there's still conflicting media reports about this. Can you definitively clarify whether or not the administration will send migrants at the border to Guantanamo?
We will not. There's never been a plan to do that. I think there was some confusion related to the Migrant Operations Center, which has been used for decades to process migrants interdicted at sea for third country resettlement. This request for information that went out publicly yesterday, which I think caused some confusion because of the timing, was posted in a typical routine first step in a contract renewal and unrelated to the southern border. Go ahead.
Thank you, Jen. I have a question about the numbers that you gave and the math. So there are 15,000 migrants under the Del Rio Bridge Saturday. If you add up the ones that you say were expelled or released, it's less than 5,000. Say there's 5,000 that are still left. Where's everybody else?
I'm happy to get you a more fruitful rundown for you, if helpful, from the Department of Homeland Security.
Okay, and when you talk about how some of these people are being placed in removal proceedings, that does not mean removed, correct?
That means they're in the process of going through a removal proceeding so that it can go through the process, our immigration process that's long been in place.
We understand that basically most of these people that are going into removal proceedings are being put on either buses from Del Rio to El Paso and Laredo, or being flown to Tucson with no COVID testing unless they show symptoms. How is that helping anybody stop the spread?
Again, we have a protocol and process in place as it relates to COVID in terms of testing and quarantining, and also vaccines are provided for a range of migrants by our partner organizations in the region. What is happening now is that, as I outlined yesterday, is that if individuals cannot be expelled under Title 42, they are placed in removal proceedings, as you referred to. That may require them being placed in ICE detainment facilities, or it may require being given a notice to appear, where biometric data and other data is taken. In terms of their transportation methods, I'd certainly point you to the Department of Homeland Security.
But why should somebody, say, in Laredo, Texas, or El Paso, or Tucson, Arizona, have to have their chance of catching COVID go up because hundreds of miles away there's an open border?
Well, there certainly is not an open border. We are continuing to employ our immigration proceedings and process and restrictions at the border, and that includes the implementation of enforcing Title 42, which is an authority, a public health authority. It includes moving people into either a process for expedited removal or removal proceedings. That is our immigration process that we are proceeding underneath.
Just a final follow-up. You say the border is not open, but we're told by our teams on the ground, you guys are releasing pretty much all family units, couples where the woman says that she is pregnant, or single women who say that they are pregnant, and that nobody actually has to take a pregnancy test unless they want to. So
Are you suggesting you don't believe when women say they're pregnant? Is that a big issue, we think, at the border?
I am not in charge of keeping the border secured.
Do you think
guys are.
pregnant women are posing a big threat to the border?
You tell me.
To the border communities?
You
Is that a
tell
big
me.
issue?
You tell me.
I'm not aware of pregnant women being a big issue of concern to people at the border. What I will note for you, Peter, is that, as I said earlier, there is a process. If people cannot be expelled under Title 42, for a range of reasons. Some of that is because countries they came from, or other countries, including Mexico, may not be accepting families with children under the age of 7. They are placed in removal proceedings. Those removal proceedings require them to either go to a detention facility or require them to go get a notice to appear, and including providing their biometric data and otherwise, so that they can be, we can ensure we know where they are, and we can ensure we know when they're going to come back. So that's what the process is. If there's a big outrage about pregnant women, I'm not tracking it.
The issue is not about pregnant women. The issue is the border open or is the border closed? Because my understanding is that a lot of this is happening on this side of the border.
I think you know the answer to that question, and I just conveyed clearly that we're implementing our border restrictions, including Title 42, including making clear that people who are coming through irregular migration, this is not the time to come, and they will be placed in removal proceedings. Go ahead.
She's such a trash bag.
Yesterday, Minority Leader McConnell and Senator Scott held a news conference in which they essentially argued Democrats control the White House and both chambers of Congress, so it's completely on them to raise the debt ceiling. Do you have any response to that? And does a debt ceiling fight, does that complicate the president's ability to get his agenda passed and deal with some of these other crises he's handling?
Well, let's just take a step back here. So these same Republicans, including former leader McConnell, no longer leader, including Senator McConnell, who felt during the Trump administration that we could absolutely not risk defaulting. That would be devastating to our economy. I can provide you the quotes. I have the receipts. He, at the same time, feels that way, or they all feel that way, but they are refusing to vote to increase the debt limit. So what are we doing here exactly? They are playing with the faith and credit of the United States Treasury. This is not a game to the president. This is our economy. This is not about partisanship. This is about doing what has been done 80 times in the past and raising the debt limit, including 3 times under the last administration, even after $2 trillion in Trump tax cuts that were unpaid for were passed. So that's my comment on that. What was the other piece of your question?
Does that complicate your ability, if you have to have a debt ceiling fight, and we're going to have the economic turmoil that those fights bring on, does that complicate the ability to get some of the other things that you're working on done, reconciliation package, dealing with COVID-19, dealing with border, all of these things?
Sure. Well, I would say in terms of the legislative agenda, our ideal would be for the Senate to vote and pass the CR that included raising the debt limit that the House passed earlier this week. Let's move on. Let's do what we've done 80 times in the past. Let's ensure that people can have confidence in the faith and credit of the United States. That would be our preference. So certainly spending time on that, having people worry about whether the government shut down, which we're working to prevent, having people, businesses, economic experts, the American people worry about the debt limit, that's not our ideal. We think we should be able to avoid that, and certainly that would allow more time to move on with the rest of the agenda, whether it's confirming nominees, getting the rest of the agenda passed, whatever it may be.
And then one question on the border. You mentioned yesterday that the agents involved in the videos, they've been placed on administrative leave. You've laid out the policy changes. What repercussions, though, once an investigation is completed, could those agents face if it's determined that they had committed wrongdoing? Would they be fired? Would there be transferred? Can you just talk about some of the repercussions that after we get past the leave and the investigation?
Sure. Well, the Secretary of Homeland Security made clear he wants that investigation to be completed by next week, and part of that process will be determining what happens on a personnel level, also on a policy level, even though he conveyed today one of the policy steps that will be taken. So I'm not going to get ahead of that process. That's why the process is in place, and I'm sure once it's completed, we'll have more to say. Go ahead.
Thank you, Jen. Help us figure out something about the travel restrictions. So, starting in the beginning of November, people from 33 countries, for instance, Iran, where 15% of the population is fully vaccinated, or Brazil, 39%, India, 15%. And then we look at Canada, 71% of people are fully vaccinated, and still the border will remain closed. So obviously, it's not a...
People can fly from Canada, right?
Yes, but they can't drive through the border. I mean, it's not easy to drive from Iran or from Europe.
That's
but
true.
It's much easier from Canada.
Fair point.
71% of the people are fully vaccinated, so it's not a health decision. Because if it was, we would. I mean, Canada is within the first 15 country most fully vaccinated in the world. So it's not health decision.
Land restrictions, which, as you know, have been renewed through I think about October 21st, but we're continuing to evaluate and make policy decisions. I would say that it is a health decision by requiring vaccinations, and we wanted to do it in a way that was equitable. So people who are vaccinated, no matter which country they're coming from, obviously they need visas and the proper documentation, et cetera, they would be able to come to the United States through that. Land restrictions, I don't have an update for you on where that stands beyond it's been extended. We're continuing to consider additional steps.
And what kind of an impact?
Okay, thanks everyone.
I have a question on Hunter Biden. In 2019, you tweeted it was prejudice.
Well, just a moment. She got all riled up at the end. Yeah, Miss Jamie, I don't know. I don't know what any of that was about. I don't know why they shut all my stuff down. It seems to be running fine now. Jen Psaki gets so riled up whenever any questions are brought up that have to do with womanhood, being pregnant, or like when they asked about abortion a couple weeks ago, she gets all riled up, super riled up. Peter was asking whether or not the border is considered open or not, considering they just let anybody and everybody walk into the country. She turned it into him being against pregnant women or calling pregnant women liars. She was trying to turn it into a situation like we believe women, like that kind of stuff. When kind of like when politicians are accused of like sexual harassment or whatever, and a lot of times in defense they'll say, oh well, this woman coming forth is a liar or a false witness, that never happened. And in defense you'll see a lot of Democrats and stuff like that say, oh well, we believe women, in defense, which is whatever. That's a situation based thing. He's asking about the border and she turned it into that. Well, we believe women when they say they're pregnant. We shouldn't even be talking to these people. If they ain't got the papers to be here, they should be shoved right back out the door. I don't understand why this turned into that kind of situation. Well, I guess I do. It's because Jen Psaki is full of shit. But we all knew that. I just think it's funny that Peter's going to disappear. Peter's going to get McAfee'd if he doesn't stop with all this direct, assertive questions that he keeps bringing to the table. Hold on. Musket. I will go full screen in a second, but we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. We're not going to let the internet take that from us. They can eat a bag of dicks. But yeah, Jen Psaki, she sucks. But at this point, we're just showing up for Peter. Peter's awesome. He asks all the questions that we want answers to. And Jen Psaki, she can't stand it. She cannot stand it. She has a hard time in life. So we're going to do some shout outs and then we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Let's get this chat filled up, at least for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you so much, Richard, for your very generous donation. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much, Lori. Let's see. Andy, Lori, George, JP, Two Feathers, Free from Fetters Grove. Thank you guys so much for your donations and your support. I really appreciate all of you. I am sorry about the internet cutting out and all that stuff. I am doing my best to get that fixed. I am not in control of the internet. The system I'm using is as good as it could be. Because of your guys' donations and stuff, I put that money into trying to provide the best service that I can provide, from updating my cameras to making sure I have good internet to making sure that my PC is running in tip-top shape, so on and so forth. It is all reinvested into this service. Something out of my control is affecting this, but I'm doing the best I can to get around it. All right, so hopefully you guys are ready to join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Put my hand on my heart and my hooligan badge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Well, actually, let me check really quick before I say there isn't anything scheduled. I want to make sure. All right, so there's nothing else on the schedule today, but that doesn't mean that nothing's going on. Like I had mentioned earlier on the first part of this live stream, before we got shut down, BLM is now starting to want Haitians to be allowed to just come here, even though they're not coming here legally. So there's a good chance that they're going to start protesting and start getting riled up again. I've heard mentioned that they are at the border. I have not actually seen any footage of them being at the border. I've just seen posts, and I guess that's really it. It's just posts of people mentioning it. But with that being said, there's a good chance that they're going to start getting riled up, especially if the government's not going to do anything about it. The government doesn't sound like they really care. They're just, blowing smoke. So as long as that's going on, it's going to give BLMers and activists and stuff an opportunity to show up and show out and create activity. So if any of that stuff is going on, we will cover it. As far as I know, I have the day wide open. I don't have anything I have going on. So we should be able to do that. I really need to get this unboxing video done. I have a couple other things I really need to get done for you guys, content and whatnot to put out. But otherwise, I am looking for that stuff, especially because that's really relevant to what's going on with the border being wide open and stuff. So that's going on tomorrow. Maricopa County is supposed to release their results from the audit. I will not be able to show that on YouTube. It will definitely get me a strike, if not banned. So I cannot show that there. If we can cover it, because I know that the coverage is supposed to be weird. It's supposed to be like the information's released, but there won't be any discussion or something like that on the live. I'm not exactly sure. I won't know until we start. But depending on how it goes, if I can show it, it will be on Twitch, Odyssey, and Rumble for the audit. And then Saturday we have a Trump rally that's coming up. I can't remember where it's supposed to be. But hopefully he has some good things to say. I know they keep asking him if he's going to run for president. He's not allowed to talk about it because of campaign funding laws or something like that. But he keeps hinting that he is going to run, which sounds really good, but I don't see us making it to 2024. Pretty soon they're going to say you can't go out and, oh God, how do I even say it? There's so many words I can't say in what I'm trying to say. You can't go let your voice be heard for who you want to be president unless you've got the jab. We're like right there. Like that's not even like far-fetched. That's not reaching at all. They already want you to be able to go and let your voice be heard for who you want to be elected without ID, but at the same time, you can't go eat at a restaurant without showing your jab card. So it's not really a reach to think that they're not going to let our voices be heard without a jab card. And then on top of it, look at how this session went when they did the results, back in November or whenever they counted all up. So it's not looking good. It's not looking good. I like seeing President Trump, and it, always feels hopeful, but being like, oh, just sit on your hands and wait till 2024, everything will get better then. Stuff is going downhill so fast. I don't feel like we have until 2024. I don't feel like we have until 2022. By 2022, I'll be doing these live broadcasts from the corner of the tent, and everybody will just be sitting in a circle in front of me like it's story time. Like we're all going to be in the green zones by then. It's not good. It's not looking good. Hopefully something changes, but it doesn't look like anyone's coming to save us. It's gonna be us that saves us. And that's not a call for action. I don't want anything violent to happen, but nobody's coming to save us. They're taking everything from us almost on a daily basis, and they're telling us during these live briefings, thank God for Peter. God bless Peter, because Peter's asking about the border. Well, how come they don't have to have the jab? How come they don't have to have a card? How come they don't even have to have a passport to come here? They're just walking here. And then Jen Psaki just basically says, oh yeah, that's correct. That they have more freedom than we do in our country. We're the only ones under restrictions and mandates. People who come here illegally or who are flown here from Afghanistan, nah, you guys are good. You do whatever you want. Come live the American dream, because the Americans, no, we're now getting hit Nazi style. We got mandates and we got orders we are supposed to follow, or else. It's messed up. By next month, we might have firing squads. Who knows? We might have gas chambers. Like, who knows? Who knows? I know we're not going to end up like what's going on in Australia without violence. I know that. There's no way. Yeah, there's really stupid Americans out there that want to go to those camps like they have in Australia. I've seen them beg for it on TikTok and stuff. People in the comments who are just like, oh, I wish we had camps like that here. Yeah, so you had a place to live for free where they feed you and tell you what to do so you don't have to think for yourself because you're unable to provide for yourself. You're unable to take care of yourself by your own decisions. That's a very small percentage of people. Everyone else is not going to just happily get on the train. It's just not going to happen like that. Hopefully something changes. Hopefully something happens. It's hard to say. I just know it seems like every day it seems like everything gets a little darker every day. You know, like talking about the border. Is the border open or is it closed? Well, we believe women when they say they're pregnant. What the hell does that have to do with putting Americans in danger by letting anybody and everybody come into the country? Like, that's trash panda. And then the guy after Peter asked a really good question that I had said either yesterday or the day before. How come we don't let Canadians come here, and how come we can't go to Canada? If they're under a mandate that's harsher than ours, and most of them have the jab, then how come we can't cross borders back and forth legally, legitimately? But we just let anybody come in through the southern border. And it's weird because it's like we're kicking Haitians out, but people from Afghanistan are fine to just come here however they are. People from Mexico are fine to just come here however they are. But not Haitians, not Cubans. They're not allowed here. That's racist. That's racist. In all honesty, of everything we've ever seen on here, that's probably the most racist thing that we've actually seen, and it's done by the White House, because that's where the authority is coming from. That's where the orders are coming from. They're trying to put it on the Border Patrol. They're like, oh, that racist Border Patrol. They're riding horses, and horses are racist. Get the hell out of here. These people take orders. All of these people take orders. It's the people giving the orders that are the problem. And it's from up top. The problem's from the government. It's not their boss or whoever, writes their check from reading the time clock. It's the White House. The White House wants this stuff. I see a lot of people keep telling me about nurses quitting and stuff like that. In Portland and on the West Coast, where a lot of nurses and doctors and stuff have quit because they're refusing the jab, yes, it makes the bed count go down. So on the news, they get to say, oh, we're running out of beds for sick people. It's not that they're running out of beds. They don't have enough staff to take care of as many patients are coming in, but that's because of the mandates. So what they're doing is they're bringing in National Guard to fill those spots, and they're not telling anybody. And so I have a buddy that just had surgery done in Portland, and he was telling me that most of the staff in the hospital is National Guard. That's happening all across the country. When your hospital gets below a certain staff point, they start bringing in National Guard to fill the spot. That's how they're getting into the States. That's how they're getting to us. Like, everybody imagines like Jeeps and Humvees and tanks and crap rolling down the street, and oh no, the National Guard's here, we're all going into martial law or lockdown, blah 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 blah. No, they're coming in and filling these spots that people they're not willing to take the mandate, so they're leaving their job, which is an admirable thing to do. You have rights. You do not have to be told what to do. A mandate's not a law. And so choosing your health and your life over your job, in my opinion, is the way to go. The thing that sucks about it is they're putting National Guard right in that spot. And so now everything's filling up with National Guard. And once they have the point to where our community is crippled because nobody wants to follow the mandates, that's when they'll just take control. That's how it's happening. It's obvious. When you see as much stuff that's actually going on, you see how it fits together, it's real obvious that that's how it's working. That's why I keep telling you guys to be a part of the Discord, because these lives that we cover are little hints towards this, but not all the information out there comes in the form of live footage. And so being a part of the Discord, you can see these posts being made by nurses, by doctors, by people in hospitals, by people in courthouses, by people in government buildings, federal buildings, stuff like that. You can see them make posts about what's happening in their local community and what they're seeing firsthand, or they're losing their job because of military coming in. It's a lot of people talking about how the migrants that we're bringing in from Afghanistan are all men in their 20s. Well, that's, to us, that's military age. They're also bringing them in to bases. They're importing them directly into bases. Well, what's also interesting is a lot of militaries leaving because they don't want the mandate. They don't want the jab. So they're leaving the military, which means that now we have military positions open. Well, you're not going to stick National Guard in an army soldier's spot. They're going to stick an Afghan there who doesn't know what the Constitution is and doesn't care what the Constitution is. Because a lot of people think, oh, well, we'll never go under martial law because our military will never turn against us because they took an oath. Afghanistan people didn't. They might take an oath, but what do they care? They don't know what the Constitution is. They don't give a damn about the Constitution. They honestly don't care about Americans. They're from Afghanistan. They care about Afghanistan people. And because a lot of their stuff is so broken, they really only care about their family. They don't even care about like the community. They just care about their family. And it's, to us, seems selfish, but because of their culture and the way it is, it's not selfish. They have to preserve their own life. Well, then when you put someone with that mindset in the position of military, and then you think of the position of martial law, now it starts to become more believable that those people would follow orders and do what they're told to do against anyone they're told to do it to. When you put all these pieces together, we're in a vulnerable spot and we don't even know it. That's why I keep telling people, like, this whole Civil War thought thing that's going on, it's going to be a lot worse than just unleashing Americans on politicians. That's, or BLM or whatever people think. It's not good. It's not good. The food shortage that they keep talking about, which I don't know if you guys know about, there's like schools rationing food during lunch and stuff like that. It's not everywhere, but it's becoming everywhere. That's a forced thing. That's a manipulated thing. They're doing all this. They're doing all this on purpose. This is all functioning together like a clock. It's like a puzzle. All these pieces are getting into place. While a lot of us are we're continuing to try and have a full grasp on reality. On normality, rather, is what I mean. Normality. I still see people like, oh man, I'm going to get my hair done. I'm going to get my nails done. I'm going to the movies. Trying to pretend like things are normal. And it's necessary to preserve mental health, but things are not normal. That normality is not because of our lifestyle. It's because what's actually happening around us. And we're losing normality more and more every day. People saying, oh, I can't wait for things to get normal again. No one can. Nobody can wait for that. But it's not happening. It's not on us. It's the way our country is being ran. And our country is now joining the United Nations for the New World Order. They're just openly talking about it at this point. What used to be a conspiracy theory is now just openly talked about on national news. It's not good. It's not good. That's why I take my flag for a walk. It's because people need hope. They need to know that we're not just going to bend over and take it. We're not going to just forfeit our rights and our American beliefs, the way we are as Americans, the way that we've been our whole lifetime. We're preserving our ideas and our thoughts, our way of living. That's why I keep telling people you need to take your flag for a walk. You need to be the light in your community. You have to let people know there's hope. Because every day there's someone near you that is struggling on whether or not they should bend over and take it, take the jab, follow orders, do as you're told. Don't do as they do. You see the White House people, they ain't got the jab. Congress doesn't have to get the jab. Nobody over there, no authority person is mandated. But you're mandated. You do as you're told. You shut up and you sit down. You speak when you're spoken to. You put this in your body because we tell you to. There is somebody struggling with that right next to you. And if you just take your flag for a walk, it could mean the difference to them. They need to know that that stuff that's happening on the internet, on the news, on news articles, it's not what it seems. It's not what it seems. Like they're saying, 70% of the country's already got the jab, or 75% or whatever. So it's 25 to 30% that don't have the jab. Well, then why is that all we're talking about every day? Why is the White House talking about that every single day? Why is that the first thing out of Walter Biden's mouth? It's not because we're the minority. They're not talking all that stuff because we're the minority. And then we got this douchebag reporter today, whoever let her in, she'll be sitting front row tomorrow, I promise. She's like, for the people who refuse to take it, they're not hesitant, but they're resistant. How are we going to make them take it? Somebody should have slapped her right in the face with a brick. Like, what are you talking about? You can't make people do nothing. You can't do that. What? You can't do that. You cannot make people do anything. Not even in the worst conditions. Now, I've said this I've talked to my friends about this. I don't know if I've ever said this on the live. But what you guys are going to see, and it's going to be crazy, is some of the people that are going to fight the hardest for freedom are going to be people who have been incarcerated. People who are no longer incarcerated. When you go to jail, and I've never been to prison. I've had friends that have gone to prison and stuff. My dad went to prison. Being incarcerated is the closest to communism that you can be in America. You are told what to wear, when to get up, when to go to bed, what you can. It's not even what you can and can't eat. You eat what they give you, or you don't eat. You shave when they allow you to shave. You talk when you're allowed to talk. If you don't follow orders, you will be isolated. You'll be put in a concrete room that you can't even lay down in. They will strip you naked and chain you to the floor. And a lot of people think, well, you get what you deserve. If someone points a finger at you and they call the police, you go to jail. You go to court to figure out if you're innocent or not. The officer does not make the decision if you are innocent or not. The judge does. So that whole mindset that, you shouldn't have messed up or you wouldn't have went to jail. There is plenty of people that have gone to jail and then went to court and was found innocent and got out of jail, which means that they are not a criminal, but they still went to jail. Being incarcerated is the closest to communism that people have ever been in America, other than people who have been in the military in certain instances like that. When it comes to threatening those people's freedom, now that they are no longer incarcerated, you will see them fight like hell against communism. It is terrible. And for people to just think that they're going to fight for freedom because of an idea of what communism is, that's hopeful. But when you tell someone that's been incarcerated that communism is coming, they're going to look like cats in a box. They will fight tooth and nail to make sure that doesn't happen. It is insane. And when you start thinking about that stuff, people who have gone to jail and stuff, and you think that could be your life, that could be until you die. You end up in a green zone, or you end up under communism rule, It will be like jail full time when you didn't do anything. It will make you crazy. It will make you want to do bad things to other people or bad things to yourself. We cannot let this happen. We cannot let communism take over. It's fun to sit here and laugh at Jim Psaki and watch Peter ruffle her feathers because Peter's awesome. But we cannot let that actually happen. There's just no way. There is no way. It is no bueno. That stuff is no good. And I know a lot of you already know that, but I want to put a different kind of perspective on it. Because I know we watch a lot of BLM stuff and we watch a lot of protesting and rioting and stuff. Not so much now because it's not active right now. But in the beginning, it was an everyday thing. And I know a lot of people have that thought in their head, oh yeah, if you go to jail, then you're a criminal and you deserve what happens to you. Not everybody that goes to jail actually did something wrong. The police was just called on them. It's just an accusation if you go to jail. If you stay in jail, it's probably because you did something wrong. But those people, those are going to be the ones you see fight the hardest. And it's because jail is the closest thing to communism that we have in the country. And so for people who just have an idea of communism, a lot of times you think of China and stuff like that. Think of how jail works. And imagine yourself being in jail for something you didn't do or because you didn't take the jab. That's what life is really going to be like. And it's probably going to be worse than that. When you're being ruled by military and stuff like that, they could just shoot you in the face in front of your kids. There's nothing you could do about it, and there's nothing no one else can do about it. And so imagine jail like that. Because that's what communism is. That's what those green zones are going to be like. Think about how the Holocaust went. They're not even teaching the Holocaust anymore. And it's because those that don't know history are doomed to repeat it. Why do you think they're taking all the statues down? They want all that stuff to come back around. It can't come back around if everybody knows about it. If everybody knows about slavery, if everyone knows about the Holocaust, how could it come back? It can't, because there's more of us than there is of them. There's very few politicians and people in control compared to how many of us there are. So it's just something to think about. When you think about communism, you don't have to think about it like some fairy tale or with clouded edges. It's really jail with the high possibility of death on a daily basis. That's how you should be thinking about when you want to fight against communism. When you want to take your flag for a walk and you want to know what it's for, it's to preserve hope. It's to help those around you that you don't even know need help. It really means something. It really means something. I still get messages from the flag walk that I did like 3 weeks ago. It is worthwhile. I wish I could do it every day, but our weather sucks so bad right now. I wish I would have started doing it earlier. But if you have the opportunity to take your flag for a walk, I really think you should do so. I normally don't say what you should or shouldn't do as far as how to think, feel, say, and what to do. Taking your flag for a walk is something that I think you should do. There's nothing wrong with that. So with that being said, I don't have anything else on the schedule like I'd mentioned earlier. There could be activity because it's Thursday and BLM's getting riled up about people from Haiti's not allowed to be here, being deported or whatever they're doing. So there's a good chance that there could be activity. I'm going to try and do this unboxing. I suck about doing that. I don't have the room to cover it. So that's what's kind of holding me back. I need to get that done. I want to put a new design out for the new merch. I'm not sure. I haven't checked the merch store yet, but the new merch store is at jeffmacmusic.com/shop. My website it should be on the bottom of the list of the link tree. If you go to my website, you click on the menu, you should be able to find the shop store. There's only like 4 items on there. If you guys would like to check out the new items, they are available. They're a little bit more creative than the items that are available on the regular merch store, such as having branding on the sleeve. The hats are embroidered, stuff like that. It's pretty cool if you want to check it out. I will be adding to that because their stuff is a pretty good quality. It's a little bit more expensive than the other merch store, but there's nothing I can do about that. I have the price as cheap as possible. If I made it any cheaper, I would be paying shipping and handling for everything you guys order. They would be coming direct, like I'd be doing negative numbers. So it's as cheap as I can get it. I literally make like less than $3 off anything that's bought off the new merch store. But I don't care. It's not about that. It's not about profit to me. It's about being proud to be a hooligan, being proud to be in pursuit of the truth no matter what. That's what it's about to me. Either way, I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much, Keena, for your donation and your support. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you coming back and hanging out with me after the internet dumped us, because they suck. Either way, things seem to be going good right now. So hopefully on the next live, we won't have any interruptions. You guys are super awesome. Thank you so much for being here. Please make sure you subscribe, follow, do whatever you have to do in order to be connected to the platform you are currently watching right now. We go live every single day, sometimes more than once a day, if possible. And you would be helping my channel grow on that platform and bring potentially new viewers to see what's going on around them. Also join the Discord. The Discord is worthwhile. It's free. Download it on your phone. You can also access it through your computer. Go to my live, find the Linktree link, find the Discord link on the list, follow the few simple steps, and you'll be greeted with an automated message letting you know that you've done all you need to do in order to receive notifications for when and where we go live. Also, there's 24-hour conversation going on just non-stop in the Discord with like-minded individuals, as well as an abundance of information pouring in. You could literally go to the Discord, go to the news tab, and read brand new news, breaking news articles, videos, links, footage, everything. You could read it non-stop all day, and you'd probably never hit the top of the list for what was just posted in that day. There is so much information coming in. It is the best way to stay up to date with what's going on, because all I can show on here is what's live. I mean, I could show pre-recorded stuff, but I don't like to do that. I like to show what's live while we're live. But the things that we can't capture live is all in the Discord. So definitely join the Discord. It is worthwhile. Now, I appreciate all of you hooligans. You guys are super awesome. And I will see you on the next live. Until then, stand tall, shine bright, and that's a wrap.